If you're an entrepreneur, do you struggle with setting your prices and knowing what you're worth? This is exactly what we're talking about today on Mindful Manifesting. You're listening to Ariana Rollins, but before we dive in, if you would like a 10-minute momentum reset, quick little exercise that can get you moving forward if you're a bit stalled, I'll put the link in the show notes. All right. Now this episode is going to be very much speaking to entrepreneurs. There is a trend online in the coaching field to sometimes charge as much as you possibly can. And there's a perception that if you have high prices, then people can see you as more expert, that you're more valuable. There are people who do masterminds that could charge you $20,000 a year or more. And the perception is that, you're going to get in the room with really advanced entrepreneurs and you're going to be able to network and it's going to add to your bottom line. Well, I want to push back a little bit. I want to push back on this because pricing is such a personal thing. It's such a personal thing. I work with a lot of real estate photographers, and this is one of the mindset wobbles I get so much, especially when they're first starting out, is because they've set their prices, but an agent, real estate agent, will come to them and say, hey, I've been using XYZ photographer, and their prices are at about 50% less than yours. Can you match that? And that happened so much. And here's a couple things going on just in this particular scenario. And then we're going to circle back to how do you determine your prices? Okay. So the agent, real estate agents, are master negotiators. You can imagine, right? That's what they're paid for, is to get you the best price on your house when you're selling it. And so one of the ways to get the best price is to negotiate the expenses down to rock bottom. So the students who are overly friendly, overly accommodating, or are new and they lack the confidence to push back, they often fold. And they say, okay, because they're hungry, they want the business. But I want to ask you, what does that communicate to the person who's negotiating them down? Probably says that they're not busy enough, that they'll take whatever it is that is going to be dished out. And the agent, whether they say it or not, is going to lose a little respect. Yeah, they're going to lose a little respect for that person who's negotiating the deal. And the student saying, or the client saying, but I really want that deal. I'm just beginning and I want to be able to get more clients like this. And so, of course, I'm going to give them a discount. I'm going to honor that pricing, but we don't even know if it's true that that's what they're paying, right? But we do know this, that real estate agents are masterful at negotiating. And any entrepreneur coming up against a real estate agent, they're kind of 10 steps behind in terms of being able to equate that. So let's talk about other fields. As an entrepreneur, especially if you are selling something that you created, it is your intellectual property, whether it is you've created a program or it's your one-on-one coaching, whether it's you've written a book and you're selling the book, that's your intellectual property. You are selling your energy, because if you're doing one-on-one, it's energy. And you're selling your expertise. I remember there's a great story. It was Picasso. I don't remember what year it was. It was whenever Picasso was alive. And he was in a cafe bar. And someone said to him, so, you're Picasso. Can you draw me something? Flippant, like that. And so Picasso takes out a piece of paper, draws something, hands it to him. And Picasso says, that'll be $10,000. I'm not sure it was the exact figure. And the man who was asking him said, what? That took you 5 minutes, 10 minutes, $10,000? And there's a point to this story, because if you've been doing what you're doing for a number of years and you have a unique expertise, you have permission, not that you need permission from me, but you have permission to charge more, because you are charging for all of that learning, all of that practice. You're not someone, I don't know why it's such a funny term, a turnip who fell off the back of a farm truck. Like, you're not someone who's brand new. You have valuable skills and resources that have been learnt over time. So factor that into what you're considering pricing. Okay, let's back up now to people who are just beginning. There are a lot of people coming into the entrepreneur sphere, and especially online coaches. And they may take a program and the program says, don't charge anything less than $250 an hour. Okay, that's interesting advice. I remember I was told that 22 years ago. And it was hard for me to set my prices because I was new. And so I followed the advice of the coach, the mentor I was working with. But I didn't feel good about it. Every time that I would say my prices, I had this price wobble in me. And I felt nervous. And here's the thing is, when we set our prices, I don't care what you're charging. But if you're not congruent and aligned with it, that will come across, and that's going to hurt you more than setting a lower price. If you own your value, own your prices, that's going to be very attractive. It's going to be confident. You're going to express confidence, and people are drawn to confidence. So, how do you get your pricing? Well, this is one model that I kind of like. It was someone who was teaching me about podcasting. Great guy. His name's Adam, and it's Podcasting Business School. If you're into podcasting and you are a podcaster, I highly recommend him. What he did, which I think is interesting, because this weaves in real value and it addresses the time factor. So say you start, you're newer, you set your prices, and then when you get 50% booked, 75% booked, you start to increase your prices by whatever percentage you want to do, 20%, 25%. When you get to 100% booked solid in your calendar, then you can look and you can increase your prices again. Because there's true scarcity in there. They can't get access to you because you're booked solid. So, and then that way, you're actually valuing your time, your energy, that resource that once you commit to something, it's gone. You've used it up. So that's a pricing model that I can get behind. I respect that. So if you're just starting out, what if you did do $50 for half an hour or $75 for half an hour, and then you started to get booked solid? What's that going to do for you? It's going to build your confidence. It's going to build your skill. And then you're coming from a place of, I know I am a really good coach or mentor, whatever it is that you do. And when you offer that price, you're going to own it. You're going to have the alignment, congruence, and that's going to speak to your perfect client that you deliver value. So artificially setting prices based on what people are charging on the internet, if that doesn't work for you, I really strongly recommend you don't follow a cookie cutter approach. Listen to what your heart is saying. Another thing that I want to cover, because I think this is really important, especially for entrepreneurs just starting out, is that say you're in the beginning phases of your entrepreneurial journey. You don't have a lot of track record of making money. And so you might be coming from a bit of scarcity thinking. We all do it at times. We all go through that cycle. But here's the thing that's really important. is that you don't want to set your prices based on what you are willing and able to pay right now. Maybe you're living month to month. That's okay for right now. So you don't want to set your prices based on what you can pay, because you may have inadvertently devalued yourself. You do not want to set your prices based on what you think your pocketbook or even the prospective client's pocketbook. Because if you're setting your prices on that nebulous term, it's chosen by emotion. And emotionally derived decisions, especially in business, are wobbly. You're not building a solid, strong foundation. You want to be able to own your value, own your prices. I've actually done a whole talk on that because it is so important, and people feel it and you feel it. Most importantly, you have to have that alignment. Your head and your heart are congruent, because if we just lead with our heart, especially if you're someone who loves to serve, loves to help, then you're going to possibly give too much away. Now, where will that lead? Well, a couple paths. It could be burnout for you because you are giving more than you're making, and that's not sustainable. The other thing is that you may have to give up your passion and may need to go to get a job full time. So solving this, setting prices based on value and worth and what it takes you, what it took you to get to where you are, is important. I'm going to address one other thing. I've worked with entrepreneurs for 20 plus years now, and this is a very delicate subject. I've worked with some people who have, how do I say this gently and lovingly, is they have had an overinflated sense of what they should charge. I remember this was not actually a client, although she wanted to be my client, but we never found something that she was aligned to work with me, because my work is deep. It's not like a 10-minute quick fix and you're going to be able to manifest your beach home, because there's a little journey of you becoming equal to it. You becoming equal to that which you're asking for. It's a wonderful journey. You enjoy life so much more when you're ready and willing to receive that which you're asking for. It's amazing. But this one coach, we got together, we met each other through a Facebook group. We were having a conversation, and I think she was showing me one of her offers. And it said that her one-on-one VIP sessions, she was charging, what was it? $2,500 per session. $2,500 per session. And I gasped. Now, this particular coach was in Australia. And in Australia, they have a rigid rule. It's a law that you have to, if you're going to set a price, like this is the value of this, you have to have sold it for that at least once. So my thoughts with her were that she had sold a coaching session for $2,500, whatever, 50 minutes, and that she was able to put that in her pricing. So, my friends, I'm asking you, does that seem aligned? If you could do it once, that's what you're worth, that's your value. And it may be, but here's the thing, is if someone goes to your online pricing page and they see you have packages of, 3 sessions for $1,500, there is going to be an instant equation. They're going to calculate it. $500 per session, but it says that her prices are $2,500. And what's that going to do? It could impact your credibility, because people are seeing something that doesn't literally add up, right? So own your value, own your prices. And it is really a topic of self-respect and not overly inflating yourself. So it's not ego-driven. Maybe that's those masterminds that are $15,000, $25,000 a year. Maybe those are the coaches that are charging a huge amount of money per hour. And I'm not saying that they're wrong, but I am saying don't model that unless it feels aligned and congruent, because it is going to muddy the waters for people considering working with you. You want to radiate confidence, congruence, and, my friends, self-respect. Own your value, own your prices, and really take time to figure that out, because following somebody else's cookie cutter approach is not going to serve you. And this is where you might find yourself hesitant to put offers out there because you're not owning your value, you're not owning your prices. And if you're not putting offers out there, you're not having a viable business, and then you're not having that confidence and that incredible joy that comes from working with someone that you've really served. It feels so good, doesn't it? All right. Now, this was a little bit off manifesting, but it really wasn't, because alignment is everything. If you want to manifest your big dreams, your big goals, it starts with you being congruent with you, respecting yourself, good boundaries, and alignment. All right. As we wrap up, as you confirm yourself, you chart your own path to success. Thanks so much for listening. I appreciate you. So much love. Bye.